Okay, so good morning, Lisa.
Morning, Debbie.
I know some people know who you are, but others have not met you. So can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your current life, like what you're doing for your job, where you live, that kind of thing.
Awesome. So, hi, I'm Lisa. I was at MSU from 2001 to 2003. Yeah, sounds like a lifetime ago. Feels like a lifetime ago. But right now, I live just outside of Cleveland, Ohio, just a little bit, like 30 minutes outside of the city. But right now, I work from home. I've been working from home for a while before pre-pandemic.
Okay.
The company I work for, a company Rapid Response, they're based in Syracuse.
Okay. And your family life, tell me a little bit about
Yep, I'm married with two little boys. They're turning 2 and 4 in
that.
August.
Uh-huh.
Those little humans keep me on my toes. I'm having conversations I never thought I would have. The kinds of things I tell people not to do now. It's never thought I'd be having some of those conversations. Yeah, like don't hit your brother with a carrot. Like,
Yep.
like what am I saying?
Um, do you remember your first impressions when you came to the Catholic Campus Center?
So let's keep it real. So you come from the Caribbean and you come over here, you're a broke student, you want to find out all the places where you get free food, right? So you had, I think it was Mondays was one place, Wednesdays was one place,
Yep.
and Fridays was somewhere else.
Yep. Dollar
So
lunch.
most people would make the rounds, right? So that you knew you could get lunch, like a free lunch at these different places. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
gotta, listen to maybe a prayer or two or whatever, but you would get your free lunch.
Yep.
But because I was Catholic and I was really engaged at home, the CCC became the place to go. So, because being in the Caribbean Students Association, there's a big community. So they tell you, hey, this is where you want to go for mass. Now, when you come to the US and you have no car, you have no transportation,
Mm-hmm.
like getting out into the community where you come from a place where it's so highly Catholic and you go to a place where actually there's a really, really small community,
Yep.
very few churches, because even being in Cleveland now, there's a lot more churches, like Catholic and
Mm-hmm.
is much more prominent over here than it was in when I was in the South. So having that home base, it was like, ooh, you get the free food, and then on Sundays you not only you get mass, but it's actually like Caribbean people and they sing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was like, oh my God, that was so amazing.
So can you describe your most memorable experience when you were here as part of our community?
Okay, so it's a funny one. I I was trying to, I was like, okay, maybe I should really find a nice serious one, but that's not me. It would not be me if I
Yeah.
didn't remember something silly. So we were doing something and I can't remember what it was, but we were cooking something. I don't know what we were doing with the food. I don't know if it was for us or we were doing something with it. I can't remember, but we brought stuff to the CCC. We were like all out cooking because we had
Uh-huh.
like chicken and whatever. And then we came to you and we're like, where's the vinegar?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what do you need vinegar for? Because Ronnie and Cassie and all of them were here. And they're like, what do you need vinegar for? You making vinegar chicken? I'm like, what is with you, Americans? Y'all don't clean the chicken. So we were having this big exposition, like teaching people like this, you have to clean the chicken
Mm-hmm.
in the vinegar. Every like all of the Americans are like, ooh, oh, okay. All right, okay. So you're not cooking it in the vinegar. No, you clean it. And then so we were like explaining. But the fun of it wasn't so much, yeah, it was funny, but the fun of it was taking the exchange of cultures, because we had,
Yes.
although it was mostly Caribbean at the time, but we still had people from Mexico and we had
Mm-hmm.
people from various parts of the United States. So it was being able to share that and
Yes.
explain some of the things that we do and why we all do that. And
Yes.
you know,
So how do you think how have your experiences from the CCC helped you um, from graduation on to today? And you've had a long time. But how would you say some of those things have formed you and shaped you?
one of the things that it did help me with, and I just mentioned it, was being able to engage and communicate with other people outside of my circle, because it's so easy to stick within your circle.
Mhm.
And having that connection, having activities, having to work with, because I remember we used to do a lot of these team building things,
Yep.
the rope thing, and you untangle the rope and you
Yep.
trust falls and all of those things we used to do
Mhm.
because those of us who used to kind of volunteer and help out I remember I was so fascinated by that. I almost, for grad school, I almost went into training and development. I don't think I
Mhm.
ever mentioned that. It was,
Huh.
it was weird. My two choices. I was like, I'm either going to do like a degree in education or training and development, or I'm going to do like industrial engineering.
Wow. I remember that. So what advice would you give a current CCC member, and really maybe just in general, but then also specifically, because I think some of my students that come as an international student,
Mm-hmm.
different advice. So what would you give maybe in general and then more specifically to an international student?
So I think while you're at school, the best advice I would give is try to expose yourself to as many experiences as you can. One other thing somebody told me when I was in school is like, do everything you can because they give a lot of things to students for free. In the
Yes.
sense that when you're out of school and you're trying to even find a spot to meet, like
Yep.
I'm part of a baby wearing group. We teach people how to use like baby
Mhm,
carriers
mhm.
and stuff.
Yep.
And even finding a spot for us to have our regular meetings is tough
Mhm.
because it's either expensive or some of the inexpensive ones don't allow you to sell anything. So we can't take money from
Uh-huh.
memberships. We're not like
Mhm.
really selling anything, but if you want to be a member, we have to take money and it's not allowed in those spaces. So even something as simple as being able to, even if it's only 5 of you that have something in
Mhm.
common and you want to find a space to do your
Right.
little, whatever it is, underwater basket weaving lovers
Yep.
association,
Yep.
this is absolutely so easy to find a spot, meet every week, discuss whatever you want to do. You could get great speakers to come see for free.
Yep.
So like try everything, take advantage of everything, go to every concert, go to every event, go to every speaker series, go talk to everybody. If somebody comes, some high level speaker, you go up to them, talk to
Mhm.
them, ask if you could email them. You'd be surprised how many people would actually respond to you. When you're a student, you could get a
Yes.
lot of
Yes.
attention and questions answered and interactions with people that you could never get once you're out
You
of
are
the
so
student
right.
thing. The second thing is get to know as many of your professors and people like you, like anybody in a like authority, somebody that is in charge of anything. Get to know them. You're in an organization, make sure you know the advisor really well. In your
Mhm.
departments, make sure you always talk to the professors during their office hours, because when you're out and you need a reference, because you are a reference for a lot of jobs by a long time,
Yes.
like 5 years and I'll be, hey them,
Yep.
trying to get a scholarship for grad school, do you mind? Take advantage of everything because they will be beneficial later. You want to build a well before you're thirsty. Especially if you're an international student, once you get out of school, it's going to be a tough slog, right? I wish I
Yes.
had brought it from the basement. I meant to do that because I had a panel discussion earlier about immigration. And I
Mm.
wanted to bring up the for one of my H1Bs, and I had multiple ones. For one of my H1Bs, the stack of paper that was the application, it was about like 3 inches thick,
Wow.
right? Because the process is so convoluted and had so many steps.
Mm.
So understand that you're not going to be, no matter how great you are, you're not going to be as hireable as a native like American person, because you have this visa process that you have to go through to be able to work. So you want to make sure that you stand out as much as possible, because that's what it's going to take to be able to get a job. They have to literally prove that they do not have an American. They cannot find an American to do this particular type of work. So you can't be just like the ordinary person. You can't just
Mhm.
go get a general business degree. There
Yeah.
are 1,000 people with your exact credentials.
Okay, thank you very, very much for being part of our new alumni interviews, and you will be debuted in a future newsletter. So,
Awesome. I'm
and
glad I'm glad I could do this. I'm glad I
I'm
could share something, right?
I am very grateful that you did that very much, and I learned a lot today. So I'm really
I'm glad.
with you. Yeah.